Hey, CrossFit community, Frank here. One of the things that I continually hear feedback or requests for is more details. So I've put together a more detailed plan of how this would start. It's not the entirety of the company. We'd be starting a company from scratch. So, it will be a process and it will take time. But this is largely how I see the first couple months going and how we would start the company and raise the funding for the company and what that would all look like. So I hope this provides some more clarity. Again, this is my proposal, and it would be really for something for the board to decide on these things. But this is what I'm going to propose to the board and how I envision this working. And so hopefully that gives you a better idea of how it might work. None of this is, again, set in stone, guaranteed. There's no guarantees of equity. There's no guarantees of stock pricing or amount of shares. This is all, again, a proposal, a draft, but it's to try to give you some clarity on how this might work and just help assure you that this is very much something that can work. So let's start with the initial steps. And what I'm working on right now is a back-end database, a customer relationship management database, which is what would allow us to track affiliates and their level of interest in involvement, investment, affiliation, that type of thing. Working on getting that set up and creating a front-end website where affiliates can go and register their affiliate, their contact info, and their level of interest. And that will be hopefully coming in by the end of September, maybe even mid-September. Again, I'm working on these things in my spare time on top of running my own gym and being a single dad. So, that will allow us to collect the information, so we'll have an idea of how to contact affiliates and what their level of interest is. Once we have that figured out and we have enough affiliates, which I think there'll be more than plenty, we would look to move forward with forming a corporation sometime in September, October. In order to do this, we would recruit out of the interested affiliates the most interested, and that would be 50 founders, of which those 50 founders would vote on 10 to 20 board members, initial board members. And then those board members would be involved in setting up the company. So we'll go over the financials more, but roughly we could raise $35,000 from those initial founders and their initial investment, as well as their first year affiliate fees, and that would give us funding to do things like filing for incorporation and hiring lawyers to check that our paperwork is all correct and adequate. So part of what the initial board would be tasked with would be drafting up the corporate documents, like our articles of incorporation and our bylaws. Bylaws detail out how the corporation's going to operate. And so additionally, shareholder agreements and recording meeting minutes, all those things we would be doing as part of the initial board, or whoever's part of the initial board would be doing. We'd also use some of that funding to hire lawyers, like I said, to make sure that everything we're doing is correct and to check our work. Once we have those founding documents in place, or part of creating the founding documents would be deciding where to incorporate and what our corporation name would be. We need to make sure that the corporation name is available. It doesn't have to be the same as our brand name, and what state to incorporate in. My inclination is Texas, but maybe Nevada. Those states are both pretty friendly to corporations in terms of taxation and legalities. Again, not my decision to make. It would be a board decision, but those are my recommendations to the board. Once we file with the state, we would file for an EIN, an employer ID number, with the federal government, and that would is probably something you all did when you set up your gyms. Maybe you had a lawyer do it, but you have an EIN, and I imagine most gym owners know their EIN. And then once we have that, we can set up the bank accounts where we can start making our deposits. Quick important thing to address: it was suggested by someone in the community that I was going to be asking people to write me checks. At no point will I be asking you to write me a check. Checks will be made out to the corporation, and the terms of what that payment involves in terms of equity or affiliation fees will be clearly outlined. That's part of what we would be engaging a lawyer for. It's part of what we'd have in our shareholder agreement. No one's writing me a check personally. In fact, some of these initial startup expenses, there is no bank account, there's no corporation. Much like when you first started your gym, you personally wrote a check to, or made payments from your personal account to get the company started, to get some of these things in place. So in some cases, I'm writing checks or really making payments from my personal accounts for this. So, but eventually we'll have the bank account set up, and investments and affiliate fees would be deposited in the bank account, and all expenditures would be approved through whatever the process is set up for the corporation. Initially, it would be through the board of directors, and eventually, there'd be a CFO and processes in place for approving budget and expenditures. The next step would be figuring out what the brand name is going to be, and this would be challenging, but again, it would be something the board voted on. I have an idea that I think is pretty good. If you have ideas and you're willing to donate that idea to the company, I'd love to hear it. Don't make it public, because if you make it public and someone else trademarks it, then it makes our process really complicated. But you can certainly communicate to us via email, cfaffiliatecollective@gmail.com, with your ideas. Also logos, so brand name and logos. In some cases, the logo is just the brand name in a specific font, like in the case of CrossFit. But once we figure out a brand name, we'll want to make sure that we can get their URLs, or what the URLs we'll need for that, for the website. Look for those brand names to be available in general, but also on social media, and what those accounts would look like. Start to set those things up and file an intent to trademark while we set those things up, to kind of reserve that trademarked brand name. And then once we have those things set up, we could trademark the brand officially and create a initial website that details out what the brand represents, and an affiliate finder map, hopefully. And the next step would be coming up with an affiliation agreement, where we would have new investors in the company and affiliates sign the affiliate agreement. I think there's an opportunity for people to be affiliated without being investing, but I think largely what we do is make investing so attractive, so easy, that every affiliate's going to want to invest and be able to invest. So that's my thought there. But yeah, we'd have an affiliate agreement written up. It would be not too unlike what you signed with CrossFit, and the details of that, again, to be worked out. But it would give you the right to use the brand name that we come up with. And we would bring on an initial set of affiliates and investors, and start to hire reps as we go. And we would continue to build out the brand, including the website and social media, and start to produce content. We'd hire a media team. It would be much like the early days of CrossFit. We would build it out as we go. And so the early investors and affiliates would be incentivized to join when the brand is not fully built out, and there would be less benefit to them. But over time, as we bring on more and more affiliates, those add-on affiliates would pay more to join, because they would get the benefit of the investment of the initial affiliate. So I'll break down those tiers and the projections I come up with. Again, they're just rough numbers, and it's nothing guaranteed. It's what the board would kind of decide. But I think it helps everybody hopefully get an idea of how these numbers would work and how it would look. Excuse me. Like I said, we would continue to build out the brand. Eventually I think we would do things like, create an education team, look to do both online education and in-person seminars and hire seminar staff. We largely follow the model of what CrossFit was before it was bought by private equity. So, we would look to support affiliates through media creation, through spreading the message. All the stuff that CrossFit did, we look to build out liability insurance. And so as an offering for affiliates. And so let me break down some of the budgeting projections and tiers for you that I've kind of, again, come up with some rough numbers. So as I mentioned, we'd start with 50 founding affiliates, and we'd look for those affiliates to buy 10 shares at $20 a share in the new company. That would be $200 an affiliate, and you'd have 10 shares, and that would raise $10,000 in initial funding. Then we would look for those initial affiliates to also affiliate with the brand. Again, at this point, there's not much of a brand, but I think that the brand would largely somewhat go viral overnight if we got this in place and we announced, hey, we are a new brand that represents what CrossFit used to represent and what it no longer represents, and the stark contrast between those two things would be a clear distinction and a real selling point for the new brand. And the notice of 1,000 to 2,000 affiliates moving over in the first month would go viral, and it would spread the word, and I think you'd see a lot of momentum. And again, we're going to incentivize the affiliates that move over sooner than later. So after those 50 initial affiliates, we would look to bring on another 2,000 affiliates in this second round that I'm calling early adopters, and it would be cut off at an additional 2,000 affiliates, but also within the first month. So if you are sitting on the fence and waiting and seeing, and you wait till 1 month and 1 day, you would not qualify for this. And a max of 2,000 affiliates as part of this round or phase, and the first month being the cutoffs. So this would bring our total, assuming we brought on 2,000 new affiliates, that would bring our total affiliations to 2,050. 2,000 this phase, 50 from the initial founders. And we would look to, for an initial investment of $40 a share for 10 shares for $400. And then that would raise our equity by $800,000 a year our yearly revenue by $800,000 a year in affiliate fees, and bring our total. It would raise our equity, our funding, our initial funding to $800,000, and for a total funding raise of $810,000. The affiliate fee for these additional 2,000 would be $1,200 a year. This would increase our yearly revenue by $2.4 million to a total of $2,425,000 a year in affiliate fees, in yearly revenue that we would use to run the company and promote the brand. So after that, the 2,050 first affiliate and on for the follow-on 2,000, those would be the follow-on adopters, and there would be some period of time for that as well. Let's say 3 months after we initially announce the affiliation offering, and this would bring us to a total of 4,050 affiliates. Again, presuming that all 2,000 that we have, 2,000 affiliates that want to join in this phase. And we would look to, for an initial investment from those affiliates of $80 a share for 10 shares, $800 an affiliate. Still below what CrossFit currently charges as an application fee, and you have no equity in the company. And this would be, you would own equity in the company, right? You'd own shares in the company. So this would bring our funding raise to up by 1.6 million. To a total equity, total funding raise of $2,410,000 for starting up the company. And the reoccurring revenue would be per affiliate. We look for an annual affiliate fee of $2,400 per affiliate. This would increase our annual revenue from affiliate fees to $4.8 million, and total revenue for the year between all 4,050 affiliates to $7,225,000 a year. And then we have the follow-on phase of the next 4,000 affiliates, and they would be eligible for purchasing 10 shares at $100 a share, which would increase our equity raised by $4 million, give us an additional $4 million in funding, and would bring our total to $11,225,000. Per affiliate, we would charge a $2,400 annual affiliate fee, which would give us an additional $9,600,000 in annual revenue, and bring the total annual revenue to $16,825,000. And then the final phase, any additional affiliates, and I suggested 6,000. Over time, who knows? But if we brought on an additional 6,000 affiliates in this phase, it would bring our total number of affiliates to 14,050. We would look for $120 a share for 10 shares at $1,200 initial investment from each affiliate. This would give us a funding raise of $7,200,000 for a total raise of $18,425,000. And as part of that, we would look for an affiliation fee of $3,000, which is what CrossFit under Greg was charging and what private equity was charging before they raised it to $4,500. This would increase our annual revenue by $18 million, presuming we brought on 6,000 new affiliates. And additionally, this would give us $34,825,000 in annual revenue. This is just from affiliation fees. There are lots of other ideas I have, and this is assuming that we stop at 14,050 affiliates. We could arguably build out a training offering and generate some revenue from that, just like CrossFit under Greg did. We can follow that exact model and increase our revenue. We could also look to, I think, instead of the parent corporation, this public benefit corporation, instead of looking to generate more revenue, more profits, looking at the possibility of, do we make the training courses cheaper? Do we reduce affiliate fees? Do we say after 10 years of paying affiliate fees, your affiliate fee drops down to something, right? Once you reach the 10-year mark, or maybe once you become a 10-year affiliate, as long as we're growing, you don't have to pay affiliate fees. You're grandfathered in. That was one of Greg's ideas, was after, I think he said, like, after 10 years, now you don't have to pay affiliate fees anymore. And so, maybe we just make the training courses really cheap, so that we have an abundance of coaches. And if we're realistically going to build out more affiliates, then, you really do need to grow the number of coaches. And so, and people that are passionate about CrossFit should be able to become coaches without a whole lot of hurdles and obstacles. And I know there's the argument of, if you're offering something of value, you should charge appropriately for it. But, I don't know. There's lots of ideas. Maybe we offer scholarships and we let gym owners or people that want to, that are passionate about CrossFit but don't really aren't doing it for financial reasons, do it purely out of passion, right? Maybe they should arguably be getting a scholarship, and then maybe there's a process for people to apply for scholarships. Anyway, lots of ideas there, lots of ways we could use the revenue, but largely what I envision is that instead of raising fees like private equity did, that we would grow the community by increasing the number of affiliates, right? Greg said, grow the pie, don't take a bigger slice of it. And largely, I think the mission of the company should be putting the community first, supporting affiliates, doing for affiliates what they can't do for themselves, looking for ways to support affiliates to help. They're the people, affiliates are the ones on the ground who are doing the work to solve chronic disease. So we should be looking as a parent organization of how can we do that? Is it creating more media? Largely the media should be telling the stories of transformation that happen in affiliates to encourage other people, to let them know that they don't have to be able to lift the weights like the people in the CrossFit Games, but that they that the people in gyms are average people, average Joes and Janes, 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds, overweight, moms and dads, firefighters, police officers, all just trying to get fitter, and all fitness and ability levels are welcome. And so that's what I think, really that's how you promote the brand and help affiliate owners. But there's even things that Greg talked about, like litigating legal battles, fighting legal battles for, affiliates that are going to help affiliates as a whole, legislating, making sure that there isn't legislation being passed that's going to invalidate the credentials of trainers or prevent trainers from doing their job, the work they're doing to solve chronic disease, as well as validate, having experts talk about the validity of our approach, the constantly varied high intensity functional movement, as well as nutrition, and exposing the corruption in nutrition science. Those things are part of the mission, and as affiliates, we should be looking to pool our funds to do that as a whole, as a collective. So that's where the Community First Affiliate Collective comes in, and that's what CrossFit was doing under Greg. And educate as well. We need to educate the public on nutrition and fitness, and what we offered our affiliates, and chronic disease as a lifestyle choice and an issue that can be solved with fitness and nutrition. So I have a whole bunch of other ideas I've written down in terms of the mission statement that we'll go over, and the founding principles and core values. So I will make another video on that. This one's getting a little long. So if you have comments or questions or ideas about what I offered in this video, please comment below. Also, it helps if you subscribe and like our videos. You can follow us on Instagram, CF Affiliate Collective, and look for us to put out notice that the website is up and ready for you to go on and register your affiliate if you're interested, as well as your interest level in joining. Really looking forward to the future here. I think there's a lot of opportunity, and I look forward to working with you all, and we'll talk again soon. Okay, take care.